But that's not danger. Talk to me about what's dangerous.
Well, what's dangerous is when people set up Facebook or MySpace or any social networking site and they think they set it to private and it's not set properly and anybody can view their personal stuff. When someone opens up a social networking site, they're sharing their birthday, they're sharing their real name, they're sharing schools they go to. Anything that a predator or a complete stranger can just look at and say, I know where that person is from 7 to 3 every day. And I can start to form a relationship if I add them as a friend and build up a friendship with them.
But, all right, now I'm a little ignorant about
Okay.
this. I only got on Facebook about 3 months ago, so this is still kind of new to me. But just because somebody asks to be your friend, is there an obligation to say yes? So why would somebody somebody say yes to somebody you don't know?
That's a great question, and that's something that I think the teenagers have to answer to us, because I mean, the kids I talk to have 1,000 friends on their Facebook, it doesn't even faze them, and they are inviting complete strangers into the world. Just, I'm not sure if it's because they think it's cool or they don't want to hurt people's feelings by saying no, but there are people out there that are inviting strangers into their world.
So I want you to go a little further with this.
Okay.
So let's say you've got a young person with a Facebook page, and that person has said, here's my birthday, and I'm in such and such school, and both my parents work, so in the afternoon when I come home and I'm by myself, I watch movies, or I'm making these cool cookies, or whatever it is. So that sends a message out. Here's so and so, age whatever town, school, living at home alone for several hours.
Yes. They're sharing that much information. There are kids now putting on social networking their cell phone numbers, saying if I'm not online, text me. And that's just sharing way too much personal information with everybody.
Even though the child might think that this information is private, that's not necessarily the case.
And anytime someone sets up their social networking site to private, which is one of the settings you can have, it doesn't guarantee 100% privacy. They think once they set it to private, the only people that can see it are their friends, and it's not true. There's ways around that. It's safer, but it's not 100% safe.
Okay. So, Laurie, I want to go to you for a minute here. Now, I know when you were writing Finding Atticus, part of your initial motivation was you knew the students needed something. They needed a story that had an uplifting ending, something that was relevant to them. So you saw a need and you fulfilled it through this fictional story. Did you have any experiences, I'm not asking you to name names or anything, but stories that you know of students, either your own students or students of other teachers where internet safety has been
Oh, absolutely. There have been several things, even at our 6th grade level, that have shocked me that 6th graders are doing. But as Scott said, the thing is, they don't think about the long-term consequences of what they're choosing to do. They're thinking about the moment. This will be funny. This will be fun. This will make me cool or popular. And that's how a lot of middle school kids think. I did when I was that age. I didn't have internet. It wasn't that long ago, but I didn't have internet. But that's the kind of things that they're doing now. Between cell phones and the internet, they're putting a lot of things out there that are not good. And yes, I hear about them through things that happen at school.
So you've got kids giving out personal information. You've got predators out there. They're using the personal information to get in touch with the kids. Now, are we really talking like the kind of stories you see on television, on crime shows, where you've got some predator showing up at some kid's house? Or
It absolutely can happen. One of the things that I've also done is undercover investigations, where I've gone online as a kid, and if they go to the wrong place at the wrong time, that situation could definitely happen.
You've been undercover as posing as a child?
Yes.
So how do you do that?
Very carefully, with a lot of patience. A lot of studying. I put a lot of studying into how to be a kid online. I've learned a lot from the kids that I've taught, either through the DARE program or just from my kids' friends. I just studied being a kid.
It's a whole different language.
A whole different world.
Yeah.
It is a whole different world.
What? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and the one thing I was going to say is I think we're missing one group that needs this education, and that's the parents.
I was just going to ask you about that. Because how can you try to help students, young people, for something like this that is essentially in their home, if the parents aren't involved?
Every student that I talk to, they think they know more about the internet than their parents, and they're probably right on a lot of situations. The kids are probably the administrators to the computers. When a parent has a problem, they call their kids in the room saying, fix this. We need to change that. We don't have to become Bill Gates, we don't have to become computer experts, but parents need to at least familiarize themselves and heighten their awareness on safety.
And how are they going to do that? What is there something in this book that will help?
Absolutely. Every chapter on this book will deal with one segment of the internet that a parent and a child will face.
All right, I want you to give me an example. Tell me a story from the book and show me how this plays out.
Can I start with Lindsay?
Sure, go right ahead.
When we first started out with this, I was pretty naive. I've learned a lot since we started writing this book. I say this with all kindness, but Scott is very creepy. He can really be a creeper, but it's because of his experience and what he's learned doing the internet.
I don't take that as an insult for some reason. I'm not sure why, but okay.
But the first vignette that he wanted to write was about a chat room, a young teenager going into a chat room, this girl. And so as I was writing that, I had to, first of all, get into her frame of mind, what kinds of things she'd be thinking about. What was scary was Scott was even better at that, figuring out what she'd be thinking about, and he'd come back with a revision. I'd say, you are spot on with that.
Like what? But give me some examples.
The things that they talk about, the things that they think about. Now, I hear it all the time at school. I'm pretty tuned into the kids. As a writer, I listen to how they talk, what they talk about. I know that that's a great place to get information. But, for example, I was kind of shocked when I found out that that a 12 or 13-year-old would start conversations with somebody they don't know that are, I don't know if racy is the right word, but it was alarming to me. Some of the things that he said that kids will say online, and I had to write that.
Racy, sexually racy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, suggestive.
Okay.
There's the word I wanted, suggestive. Very suggestive. And a lot of that comes from the media to begin with. The movies they're watching, the TV programs they're watching. So now they get onto the internet, and because of the anonymity that Scott talks about, they can go on and be something they're not, someone who is sexier, who's more experienced, so they think. But so then as I was writing that and I was sending it off to Scott, he had to do his, what I call the creeper part, where he had to imagine he was the predator responding in this chat room. And it was very eye-opening for me as an educator with all this experience and all this time with students and with kids of my own to see what kinds of things he's dealt with internet, well, not safety, but internet investigations, yeah.
Okay.
Did I answer your question there?
Yes. So you have a vignette like this in the story, and then there's a section, from what I understand, where you kind of dissect the scenario.
What I do is, that's where I take over, and what I'll do is whatever Laurie comes up with, I will dissect is a great word. I'll take apart the chapter and point out where things went wrong, where things could have went wrong, and what needs to be done to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So something like, here at this point, you gave away information about where you were going to be at a certain time. You gave away your cell phone number. You gave away
That's
something
exactly
like that.
what I do with Lindsay's. I pretty much copied the exact sentence that Laurie would write, and I would say, in this sentence alone, here are the 4 things that went wrong and why they were wrong.
And the personal information that she gave. I love his analogy to the predator putting a puzzle together, because I could see it so well in that chapter as we were starting it, how someone could just gather more and more information just by innocent things that the girl would say. She'd talk about her friends and name her friends. She'd name her activities, and when she does them, and I'd sit there and say, wow, she is giving out a lot of information. And he, as the supposed predator, was pulling it all out of her.